Why is it that a spiritual experience is pretty worthless in and of itself if you have no understanding of it? The simple reason is that you will not be able to hold that experience in your everyday life and make it continuous. You may take a psychedelic and have very deep experiences, insights of no self, experiences of oneness and God consciousness, and this will be a genuine experience. And you will come back from that experience of maybe 20 minutes later or a couple of hours, depending on the substance. But what is the problem there? The problem of only having an experience, no matter if that's by psychedelics or by any other practices induced by psychedelics or the practice, is that you do not understand it. And even though the teachings are meant to be transcended, they are still essential. Because you can imagine, like, the experience is like a destination. And just having an experience is like blindly following a guide to that place. And you have no idea how you got there. You didn't recognize any of the way marks and where you had to go left and right and which paths to choose. You didn't pay attention to all of that. The guide just took you there. And then he takes you back home. And you have memories of this beautiful place, of all the experiences you had there. But then, without that guide, that place is not accessible to you. And that is the reason why knowledge and experiences are actually inseparable. They have to be combined. And it's a constant process of readjusting your knowledge to your experience along the path. So you will experience subtler and subtler layers of yourself. And sometimes you will have heard about those layers beforehand. You will have studied and thoroughly understood them beforehand. And then the experiences follow that. Or you have the experience first and then you have to play catch up with your knowledge. You have to really get into all the teachings again and find out what it was that you experienced to completely understand what it is and how you get there, how you maintain it. If you get into a jhana experience, a beautiful, blissful state in meditation, and the moment you get out of the meditation and into your daily life, that's a past memory, that's almost worthless in that moment. Because you do not understand how you get to that place other than applying the techniques in that moment, in the meditation. In that moment, it's worthwhile, it's very genuine, and it gives you the vision of, what this state is like, what this oneness is, where the goal or where this path leads to, what the goal of the path is. But then without deeply understanding how your mind actually, when you are back into your daily life, how it covers up that which you experienced, without that understanding how that dynamic is working, you will have lost it in the most precious moments. When you interact with your loved ones, when you are at work, when you feel stressed, when you think, I should actually, this is one, right? This is blissful existence, peaceful essence, nature. That is always the core of my being. But in that moment you have no access to it because you are dependent on some techniques to get you there. And this is where the knowledge is crucial. And only reading about it again is not enough. You have to study that, understand it conceptually, and then go into your meditation and look at the process of how actually your mind creates separation, illusion of separation, illusion of ego, of self, of otherness in comparison to the self that seems to perceive this world. And when you can do that, then you are successfully combining practice with knowledge, studying books, different teachings, and really finding out what the intricate details is of this whole process of how your reality is constructed through yourself, through your mind. It's no other. It's not some mystical thing that's eternally hidden. No, it's something that you can observe and then understand how that works. And once you understand how that works, you can see it in every moment happening. Of course, that requires also the ability to perceive those subtle mind-created tendencies and forces, which you practice in your meditation session, which you, by training your concentration, learn the ability to sort out these different pathways of your mind, how it creates all these subtle senses of reality, of feeling, of creation, the creation of solidity, of feeling I am a solid self. This is a solid, enduring experience. This is an enduring feeling. I have a craving. How all of that is created. That is what you train your focus for, to really then apply to those, all these aspects of how it is that you are chasing all of your experiences by these feelings of craving for something or craving against something, which is really the same underlying tendency of the mind. Craving for pleasure, whether that manifests as pain and the drive to avoid an experience, or pain in the sense of I perceive a lack of something and therefore I strive to pull something into my experience. So whether you desire something or desire not to have something, it is the same underlying tendency. And that is where your focus and your ability that you train in meditation to focus on these different tendencies of your mind, to create that pull, that is what you train focus for. That what are these different techniques are used for. And to finally then see all of that happening in real time. Every moment a thought arises that feels somehow charged with emotional energy that pulls you towards doing something. And by doing that, if you do that long enough, then you can actually pierce through it. And the moment it arises, it loses its power and separation is no longer created. So it's equally about understanding, even rationalizing, even rationally thinking through the teachings. It's not only about how does it feel for me, and I meditate upon a sentence and don't really understand it, but I just let somehow it sink in. Maybe you will get it, but the point is really to get it at some point. Even though it's all, in the end, not absolutely true. That's the tricky part. That's the real tricky part. Even though this is contradictory, but there are no absolute truth. It will always depend on the situation. And you will have to come to accept that what you really fall into in this work is the not knowing of it. Is the being okay with its fluidity, with the experience of momentary stillness that is at the same time falling as experience. And you don't know anything for sure. There are some patterns, of course. That's why knowledge is perfectly valuable, but always only in partial. The knowledge is always covering a partial aspect of reality. So there are theories that work very well for certain aspects, and you will find the deeper you go, the more you will also discover its limitations. And that's where it gets fuzzy, and really teachings get very rare. It can take you all the way. Because once you exhaust them, you will see that I have to go even beyond that. I have to even deconstruct now all of that, and there is no path for that, really, that is able to be laid out as thought. That's happening deeper, on a deeper level. But even that you understand on a certain level. Maybe you cannot put it into words, but once you have the experience and you have experienced it many times and you go and observe that, even though you have transcended rationality and rational thought, there is still an understanding. And this is really what spirituality is about. It's not only about, like many religions do, where they only teach you certain beliefs, knowledge, where it's about, this is how it is, and you believe it, and that's good enough. It's more here about faith. It's about faith until you know it for yourself. So you learn something, and then you discover, is that true? Can I verify that? Until that moment, the knowledge is pretty shallow and doesn't give you very much, aside from the motivation to actually go and discover that truth for yourself. So what is really important is to, again, see it as equal parts, the experience, the being of it, the being aspect, the being side, and the understanding, the knowledge. Hope this was helpful. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.